This tutorial will show you how to decode an array of dictionaries within JSON payload. So this is the information or the JSON payload that we will be extracting. So now I'll show you the actual raw payload within Postman. The endpoint is located at iosinsights.co.uk/users.json. Within Postman, just click on send to do a GET request. And this is what is returned as a payload. So as I said earlier, the JSON payload contains a dictionary, and the dictionary contains a single key, which is users, which maps to an array of dictionaries, which is here. This is an array of dictionaries. This is one dictionary. This is the second dictionary. And this is the third dictionary. In total, there are 10 dictionaries. And here is the information that we'll be mapping from the JSON payload onto the SwiftUI view, which is here. So John Doe is the name, as you see there. And we're also mapping the email key, which is here. The email key, and this is the value, John Doe 1@example.com, and also is active will be mapped onto the UI, which is a Boolean variable. So this JSON payload mostly contains an integer, 2 strings, and a Boolean within arrays of dictionaries. The first thing we need to do is to create a new Swift file and name the file user. And then we create the struct user decodable identifiable let id int let name string let email string let is active is bool. The next thing we need to do is to create our user response struct. User's response struct user response decodable so we're using the decodable protocol. Let users user. So the user response struct, it contains a key called users, which maps to an array of dictionaries. As seen here, as I showed you earlier. So here is the user's key, which maps to an array of dictionaries, and these are the dictionaries. And that's the key, users. So the next thing we need to do is to create another file called user service protocol. User service protocol. And for this example, the protocol will have one function signature, which is called fetch users. Async throws, that can throw errors, and return an array of users that includes dictionaries. The next file we need to create is our user service class. Which is a Swift file. User service class, user service, and we need to use the user service protocol. And the purpose of the user service class is to enable the users to be fetched from the server. Guards let URL equals URL string, and the endpoint is HTTPS, iOS, insights, .co.uk, users JSON. Else If the URL is invalid, then we throw the error back to the calling routine, which will be a bad URL error. So on line 14, we asynchronously send a GET request to the specified URL and retrieve the response. Try await is used since the operation is asynchronous and may throw an error. The results include the JSON payload and the response, such as 200 OK. So we just do that part now. Response equals try await URL session.shared from URL. And that should be shared dot data. Guard response as HTTP URL response status code equals 200 else throw URL error. Bad server response. So on line 20, if the response is invalid, if it cannot receive the correct response and the status code isn't 200, then on lines 21, a bad server error will be thrown back to the caller, to the function or the class is waiting for the result. Let JSON equals try JSON decoder decode user response .cell. We use .cell because we're returning a dictionary. Return JSON.users. So on line 24, we decode the JSON dictionary. We decode the JSON data into a dictionary object using the JSON decoder. And also, try is used because decoding may throw an error. So we want to capture any errors and return any errors back to the caller if it happens. So now I'll just compile it. So there's a problem with that one. It cannot find content view. Compile it again. Something's wrong with the content view. And something happened to the content view. I'll just delete it. I recreate the content view. Content view. Compile it again. Yeah, that's much better. In next week's tutorial, we will add the view model and also add the code for the content view. So the content view can call the view model and populate the list on the content view that includes the JSON payload. So that's for next week's tutorial. Thank you for joining us. If you found this tutorial helpful, please comment, like and subscribe. See you next week.